How's it going, everyone? On today's episode of Crafted by Dub, we're going to be turning this empty room to this. Now, the goal for this video is to turn this room into a recording slash gaming studio. Now, as you can see, it is not very big, but just big enough to fit me perfectly in here. And if I walk inside, you can probably tell by the audio, it is very echoey. Now, echoes for audio, not the greatest in my opinion. Some people prefer echoes, some like a more dampened room. I'm one of the people that prefer more dampened. I want like a crisp, clean audio without this echo. And honestly, it's just the perfect space for a recording studio. Yes, it's not the cleanest. It, has a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be taking out. There's a window there, which we'll be leaving alone. But I'm gonna be removing this trim before I actually start putting stuff in here. There's gonna be a nice desk, maybe a computer on the corner. I'm gonna have my monitor set up, and then I want like a big screen up above just so I can monitor everything that's going on down here. And then I also gotta do a couple things with the drywall. I want to put some rock wool safe and sound insulation behind these walls, and then I have some foam tiles that we're going to be putting up on top of these walls as well. So the first step would be to go to Lowe's. And just like this, we have our materials. So I am using the rock wool safe and sound insulation. This is really good for like sound deadening material inside your walls. That way, I don't wake anyone else up in the house if I'm playing a game getting a little too excited. I also got a couple sheets of drywall, 4 to be exact. Hopefully this is enough. And then I got a couple 2x4x8s. I have a couple ideas of what I want to do with that. More to come on that. And then I also got a door. Now, this isn't actually going to be a door. This is going to be my desk, along with the 2x4s. Instead of buying just a pre-made drop-in desk, I'm actually going to make one. Now, a lot of you guys might be wondering, why did I get a door instead of like a countertop? And the simplest answer is, this is affordable, countertops are not. You can get the door. This is a hollow door, so I do have to do a little bit of reinforcement on it. But this is a $35 core, as they call it. That's going to work great for my application versus a countertop starts at about $135 and up. So it wasn't really feasible for me to try to do this on a budget, and I kind of wanted to just see if this would be something I could do and potentially use in the future for maybe some of my 3D printing projects. More on that later. Now, I was able to find this nice miter saw or chop saw, whatever you guys want to call it, for a really good deal off Marketplace. I only spent 30 bucks on the thing, so definitely want to like shout out to the guys on Marketplace for selling stuff that was super expensive at one point, really cheap so I could afford it. So I don't think there's actually any insulation in these walls just because it's a partition wall. So I don't think I'm gonna have any issue, but the first thing I'm gonna start doing is taking off all this trim and this board back here. Same thing with over here and right here. I will also be taking off probably some of this trim. I haven't exactly decided how much I want to remove out of this room. There's like piping that runs up to the second story upstairs. And then there's a window right here, so I don't want to touch too much of this corner. I just want to focus on this space right here. So definitely need to get access into this wall, and I need to get access into this wall. So both these drywall pieces need to come down. I think first I'm just going to start by taking off all the trim. So now that all this trim is removed, what I'm going to be doing is going and removing the exposed screw heads on top of the drywall. And you can see a couple that were behind the trim, thankfully. It looks like they spackled over and painted most of the ones that go up the beams, or studs, sorry. So I'm probably just going to have to rip all this out and then find the screws after to take them out. But this is some pretty good progress so far, and it's only been like 15 minutes of work, so I'm definitely pumped and hyped to see this thing coming along, since I've been thinking about this for weeks already. Hopefully I caught that on camera, but I just went to go wiggle the wall a little bit and this whole thing just slid down, so caught me off guard, not gonna lie. Good thing my hands weren't in the way or anything like that, but yeah, so it looks like more retaining wall or foundation, because like I said, this is a basement, so that would make sense. Well, the electrician called today, he's running late, so I kept looking around and I figured some stuff out. You might notice there's no more trim up there. Took all the trim down, and I could see why they put trim, because there's some horrendous gaps, and they did it in 4 pieces, probably because drywall is kind of heavy, and to do it all by one person, I can understand that's probably the reason why they did it. Now, while I was looking around, I did notice that there is actually an HVAC duct right there that runs to this vent up here in the kitchen above here, so I would like some circulation in here occasionally. I'm probably going to go and get a vent to put right here, tap into that HVAC line, and then I can have some AC in here, and during the summer when it gets hot, and I can close it during the winter, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to create enough heat with the computer here in the corner, plus, you know, regular body heat. So another good thing that I realized is insulation sound deadening doesn't really do any good on these walls to stop it from traveling up. So I do need to take these pieces of drywall out to put the rock wool sound deadening up above as well, so that the sound doesn't travel upwards. And the main reason for that is because if I might make videos late into the night, I don't want to wake the wife and the daughter upstairs. So that is the reasoning for that. One thing I noticed though, or another thing I noticed I should say, this person that built this closet used 3 different types of bits when putting screws in, and it is the most irritating thing ever. Stick to one bit size. So we started with Phillips, and then went with Torx, and now I found square bits. These guys, to be specific. Well, I should say those ones right there, if I can focus. There you go. The square bits are used up here for the drywall. Like, what the heck? Why? I went to go start taking it out, and I'm like, the heck is that? And right there, and there, and there, and there. So, it's obvious he was just using what he had. I get it. But it's the biggest pain in the ass for me, because I have to keep switching bits just to take things apart. And granted, the basement is finished, and currently where my setup is, which is very dirty, so I'm not going to turn the camera around, is or was a room originally, and they were using it as another part of living space. I converted it to an office, and then this was a walk-in closet, so I don't think that they ever intended it for it to be taken back apart. However, plans change, different ownership, so I am putting in a studio and I'm going to use my current office space for my 3D printing because I do a lot of 3D printing. So I'm going to set you guys back up and continue doing some demo work while we wait for the electrician. Got the hanging lights coming down. They're just clipped in, so made it really easy to get those out of there. Now I have those out, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this piece of drywall first, and then I'll take this one out, and I can just reconnect it because they have like these like 9-volt style bullet connector type situation that I can just undo and redo, and then I can see about putting some insulation up here. Now it's time for the safe and sound installation. It's a little bit of a progress update. I started to put this last piece in here. Obviously, you guys saw me getting this panel on, or I think you saw my phone did die, so I'm not sure at what point it cut off the video, but pack full of insulation on top, and got a couple screws on this side. This is actually just kind of floating here with the friction fit, so I need to sink a couple more on that side just to make sure it doesn't fall and rip itself out. But it already sounds noticeably quieter in here, and it's only just the ceiling that has the rock wool in it, so I'm very curious to see what it sounds like once I do this wall. And I don't know if I have enough to do this wall, honestly, but I'm at least going to try to get the top done and see how much I can fit in here. If I need to go and get more, I will, but for now I will finish putting up this panel piece, and we'll do this panel piece after. So it's a new day. Electrician came. Unfortunately, he didn't want to be on camera, which I respect. But regardless, it all got taken care of, and let's see what's going on. All right, so as you can see, we have outlets. I have power outlet there, and a power outlet there. And then I got this box put in by him as well, just so that I could have Ethernet, because that's the coaxial cable box that goes to the router on the other side of the wall. But he went ahead and put a new box in here, and inside there is a Cat 6A, Cat 6E Ethernet cable. So that should be plenty for gaming and, you know, whatever else I want to do on my computer while it's in here. Wasn't sure if I was going to put that box in or not, just because I wasn't sure if he'd be willing to, but yeah, the guy was really cool. It didn't take very long, but it did end up getting kind of late, so I paused for the night, and now I'm back ready at it again. Alright, so what's next on the agenda? Well, next need to do is insulation. And for insulation, I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough, so I went ahead and bought another pack of rock wool insulation. It's the same stuff, the Safe and Sound. This one was getting kind of low, and I still have 2 walls to do, and I was wondering if I still want to do the other wall. And so versus running out, I just got another pack. I didn't want to like accidentally run out and not have enough to complete it, and I'm trying to get this at least mudded and taped off tonight so that I can get in here and sand and paint tomorrow, which would be really cool. Alright, so don't mind the mess, but this wall does not have insulation in it. I'm curious if it's going to make a difference having the rock wool in or not. I'm not even sure if I'll have enough, so if I do have a little bit extra, I might just take drywall off this and put some insulation here just so it's a little bit quieter. I am going to put a barn door slider right here. That way I can close this off and make it like almost soundproof completely. I know it's not going to be 100% soundproof, but it's definitely going to be the quietest room in the house. So I'm not sure if I got this in the last clip or not, but I did go ahead and put the drywall on top the ceiling, and it's all insulated now, so I think it came up pretty good. I did go ahead and close up the gaps as best as I could, but it will require a good bit of mudding, sanding, and taping just to make that look seamless. Now, before I go any farther, I'm going to go ahead and clean up in here because it is a little bit messy. I told him he could just leave stuff out. He did use my materials, which I was very grateful about, saved me some money. But I'm going to go ahead and clean up. Actually, before I go ahead and clean up in here, I'm going to put the rest of the insulation in because these walls still definitely need it. And then once the insulation's in, then I'll go ahead and clean up the floor. So I did learn from yesterday, doing the insulation on the ceiling, that a proper mask is necessary because I don't think I should be breathing that stuff in, and gloves are also a must. The only thing I don't have is eyewear. I didn't really notice it too much, like vision wise, but I could definitely smell something, and I didn't want the insulation directly on my hands, so mask, gloves, let's get some rock wool insulation in these walls. And just like that, the drywall is removed, exposing an empty cavity that we need to fill with rock wool. Overall, removing the drywall is pretty straightforward. They used Phillips on this side and square bits for the top for whatever reason. Maybe just ran out of screws and he's just using what he had. But now that I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and pack it full of rock wool on top as well, and then go ahead and just slap all the drywall back on. Alright, so that is completely filled and it is looking great. Now, all that I have left to do is some drywall, and damn, this looks good. I'm talking in here and it actually sounds like a professional sound like studio booth. Obviously, yeah, the window's there. I'm probably just gonna put some insulation in the window. Haven't exactly decided yet. Maybe I'll just do some kind of padding in there, but I don't think that's gonna let any noise out really. It's just noise in that I'm concerned about. This is looking great. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a quick vacuum, and then I'm gonna start putting some drywall back up. Alright, just took a quick food break and I'm ready to get back at it with another piece of drywall. So this is the piece that goes on top of here. Now it looks like they notched it out because there's probably like a piece of wood up here somewhere. But it actually doesn't need to be this tall. And I'm measuring about 46 across the top, so I think I'm going to cut this down a little bit. And if there's a small gap at the very like top of it, that's fine because we're going to be trim on top of it anyway. But that turned out pretty awesome. I'm gonna try to just get this on top of there, and then we'll see where we're at. And just like that, we have one complete wall with drywall on it. Now, guess I gotta start moving on this side, but that fitment is perfect. Like, I know I came in a little low here, and I came in right at the top here, but you know, it fit perfectly the first time. I didn't have to come in here and shave away material to make it fit. So I'm really stoked with the fitment of that one. These two I did need to make a little bit of trimming to, but they fit like perfectly now. Not the prettiest things because obviously it still needs spackle, it still needs tape, it still needs paint, but definitely coming together. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start throwing on drywall on this side. Now the hard part about this one is that I need to measure and for the outlet and put it on this way, but it's not a lot of room in here for a whole sheet. So I'm going to scoot it out like that, take my measurements, do my cutting, and then we'll get it thrown on. Hole is cut, so let's slide this thing into place and see if it fits. Okay, so I ended up making it fit. I did have to trim a little bit off that side, but it does fit perfectly in the center now. I'm just going to go ahead and start putting more screws in. I did get the top row done. Realized I wasn't recording, so let's go ahead and get some screws in here. And there's a little bit of a gap over there, but that's okay because there's trim going on it anyway. So I did a little bit of a rookie mistake. My battery died. I'm sorry. You guys missed a little bit of progress, but let me fill you in on what's going on. As you can see, we have drywall everywhere, and I went ahead and started mudding and taping the seams and all the screw holes, and so far it's coming out pretty nice. I still have a lot of work to do right here, which you guys will get to see along with taping that seam. But yeah, a little bit echoey again, just because flat surfaces bouncing around. But it's not quite as echoey as it was originally without the insulation in the walls. Obviously, the echo is going to disappear once stuff starts going in here, especially those foam tiles that I'm going to go ahead and put on the walls at the end. But it is really nice to start seeing this come back together. And yeah, let's go ahead and get some mud and tape on this wall, and then you guys will get to see me fixing all this. And just like that, all the mudding is done. I got the mud, the tape, all the seams done. I even got the ceiling, which was really fun. This is the patch wall. I did have to pile it up a little bit heavy on this side just to get all the imperfections hidden. There's still a little bit of glue, so I'm going to have to sand all this down and get it nice and smooth again, but it is looking a lot nicer in here. Got our outlet right there, Ethernet right there, which both have their plates. Outlet up there, outlet down here, and yeah, this is definitely awesome to see. I'm glad I got this all knocked out today. Alright, so it's a new day again, and I got a lot of stuff done down here last night. I think we left off with everything being taped up and mudded, so that's a really great step. Ceiling's done too. Now all I gotta do is sand everything and then get ready to paint. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding on this wall. I got my own little like sandpaper block just to get it down nice and flat, and we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so this is one wall done. Let's go ahead and move on to the next, and then the ceiling, and then these guys. Alright, so I got everything prepped for paint. I went ahead and wet wiped the walls after I got done sanding, and I did a quick vacuum in here. Let me show you the floor. Now, there's a little bit of spackle on there, but that's minor. I could probably still get that out. If not, I'll just, like I said, replace the carpet. I'll probably cut it here, put a door seal trim board, and then just, you know, glue and staple it in underneath the trim once I'm done. But for now, I'm gonna leave it alone. I did vacuum, but there's still a little bit of drywall powder on the carpet, so that's why you can see my footsteps and a couple different things. But regardless, all the sanding is done. You know, the joint compound. Ooh, this is lifting. I just noticed that. Huh. Well then. Alright, so all the drywall is sanded, the walls are wet wiped, the floor is vacuumed, and we are ready for painting. Definitely been a lot of work, and it's not going to come out perfect. Like I said, I'm a novice. I'm not a professional, but I do think that once everything is completed and all the foam paneling is on, everything's going to look really good and professional at the end. It's the result that matters to me. So I think it's coming out pretty good, and it was a lot of work. So let's go ahead and get ready for some painting. All right, so I'm currently sitting in my chair in the office, and I do have some trim around me. I realized I wasn't recording, sorry, but I'm working on getting my desk set up, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the walls black instead, but I'm going to get it all trimmed out first, and then we can basically fill everything in from there. But I just had to figure out where I wanted my desk to be since I'm hard mounting it to the wall. There's that, perfect.
Every glass person's dream.
Painting a room black.
Yeah.
And just like that, the room is painted. There's still a little bit of wet paint on the dry paint, and you can see some imperfection shining through and like the waviness of the drywall. But overall, it looks awesome. The ceiling came out great. Can't really see it because of the lights, but yeah. Super stoked to have this taken care of. And now I can go ahead and cut the piece of top to go on top of here. And I'm probably gonna have to brace it with another 2x4 that runs in the center right there, kind of like from like where this bolt is or screw is to that screw, so that it kind of has some like cross bracing, just so all the weight in the center doesn't cause it to sag. Now I don't want it at the end right here because I don't want my knees hitting it, but if it's back in the middle, that should be plenty fine. And then I can go ahead and start trimming the ceiling first and then the sides. For the most part, it came out pretty good. Now, I'm sure if there's people that do drywall work for a living, you're looking at this like it's atrocious. My apologies. But for the novice, I think I did an okay job. The back blend actually came out pretty good. It's still a little wet right there, which I can still see a line. I touched that up recently just because I was painting the wood frame here. But yeah, I'm stoked. I'm going to go ahead and throw the covers on, and we can go ahead and get the board cut, the 2x4, and then put the board on top and go ahead and start trimming this place out. It's definitely coming together. If you guys have any suggestions about what I should add to the room after you see the end of this video, definitely drop it below or let me know how you're liking the video so far. This is kind of like an unusual one that I don't normally do, or like I don't do a lot of this type of work, so there won't be a lot of videos like this, unfortunately, but I do have other things to do in the house, so if you guys do like this, maybe I could make some more videos in the future. But hopefully the quality of work comes out a little bit better, since, you know, the rest of the house won't have the foam tiling on it. So if I have to do more drywall work, it's going to need to come out a little bit better than this. Okay, so the top bar is mounted. Got a screw at this angle going down, which is a 3-inch screw, and then I have like my smaller screws at the bottom. So that's not going anywhere. All right, let's go ahead and cut the topper. I will have to paint this afterwards, so maybe I should do that now, and then I'll cut the topper for it. That way I don't have to worry about painting the desk part itself. I just don't want to be able to see this when I'm looking down in here. And that's drywall powder falling from behind the 2x4 that's mounted to the wall currently, so that should just wipe off some water. But yeah, let me go ahead and paint this real quick, and then I can go ahead and cut the board. But this will be painted in 3, 2, 1, and it's complete. I love how fast that was. Now obviously I still have to go back and after the trim is up, touch up a couple places with the finishing brush. However, this seam right here all along there is going to be covered up, so you won't be able to see that anyway because the topper is probably like 2 inches thick, so that should be hidden. I will have to go on like the little edges underneath the desk and do those, but that's minor. I can go ahead and do that after. But I'm really eager to see how it's going to look with the actual desktop on top of it. And then once we get the trim on top and bottom, put the plate on there, this room is going to be transformed. 100%. Can't wait to see it. And just like that, we have a tabletop. Now I went for like the floating desk effect because obviously it doesn't have any legs. Don't mind the drywall powder, it's going to get wiped off after. But I wanted to build it so that it looked like it was just kind of floating, had perfect amount of foot space, it wouldn't obscure anything down here that I want to do. But if we look underneath, you can see the 2x4 frame, and it has about, I'd say about 20 inches of overhang, which should be perfect. And for those of you with a keen eye asking yourself, is this a door? You'd be correct. It is a door. Now, you might be asking, why did I use a door? It's cheap. Tabletops are really expensive for whatever reason. I was looking at a butcher top originally, and they wanted like $230 for a piece this big. It's about 55 inches across. And I'm like, that's way too much money. I'm not going to spend that much money on a tabletop. Maybe in the future I will, but for now I just wanted something affordable since I was doing this on a budget, and honestly, came up pretty good. Now it is technically like a partial hollow door, so obviously I can't be like rage quitting and slamming my hand into it because it probably would go through if I punched it hard enough. But for, you know, a tabletop for the PC to sit on, mouse and keyboard, and the monitor, it should be perfectly fine. There's no reason why it wouldn't work. So I do definitely love how this is coming together, and I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like once it's finished. Obviously, we still have to put all of our foam tiles on. We have to trim it. We have to put the monitors here. The PC is going to go right there. And then I do have to do some cable management to figure out how everything's getting plugged in. But if you remember, we put an outlet right there, an Ethernet right there. And for the people wondering how I'm going to plug everything in, I'm going to get one of those desk grommets to go in the corner back here, so I can just run everything down that way. And then as for the monitor mount, I do have to mount it before I actually mount the desk down. And I'm probably just going to glue the desk down just so I don't have any exposed screw heads on top. But if I were to screw it down, there are solid points on either side. And I could just put some screws through into the 2x4 frame, and then obviously it's going to have the foam tiles on top. So it would be hidden regardless, but I kind of want to not have any exposed screws on top of the desk. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future, but the glue should work perfectly fine, especially when it has the monitors in the back, the computer on this side, and it has that center brace right there as well. So my hands being right here with the keyboard and mouse, there isn't any reason why that should all tip out. For the people wondering why I left a gap on both sides, I did that on purpose just in case this board wants to swell. I didn't want it like shoving itself into the drywall and causing issues, or bowing, I guess, is the biggest issue I was worried about. So I did leave some breathing room on both sides, and then that way also I could pull it in and out easier without ripping at the paint on both sides, because it looks like I already scuffed it a little bit just even getting it in there. So I will have to do some touch-up work, but definitely loving how this is coming together. So I ran into a little bit of a problem, and let me show you what's going on. So this is my 3 monitor mount stand. Now, as you can see, the monitor mount has like this V shape on it, and then it has like this C-clamp style where these tighten down to the bottom of the desk. That's all great and dandy. However, with this slid all the way back to the wall, you might see where I'm getting at. This gets in the way because I obviously can't go flush against the wall. So it hits this, meaning it won't, there's like a 2-inch gap. Now, to fix this, what I'm going to have to do is take this backboard off. And I already made 2 lines where I'm going to cut the center of this board out, reattach this where it was, and then I'll be able to slide this all the way back. And since I'm already doing this here, I might as well possibly do the grommet hole on the center over here, or I'll stick to the corner, whichever one. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I'll actually do 2. That way I can run the PC stuff down that way, and then I can also run the keyboard and mouse stuff towards the back and then have it come back up there. Not exactly sure. And just like that, we have our board cut in the center. Now we can go ahead and put our monitor stand on and slide it all the way against the wall. Perfect. Oh man, is this looking good. It's just two pieces of trim, but it's already starting to transform this entire space. Really digging the black and white combo. Alright, so for whatever reason, my camera decides to just stop recording, and I'm not sure exactly where I left off, but let me just give you a general overview of what I've completed. And man, is it starting to look good in here. So for starters, we have all this trimmed out. I still have to do underneath, and I still have to do the ceiling trim, but the wall trim is on. And then it loops over here. As you remember, there's a gap up there that's trimmed. Obviously there'll be another piece on the very top. The door is trimmed out, so the door and the wall, I do need to cut a small piece for there and underneath there, but it is looking really good. Again, ceiling trim still has to go in, so that's to be determined. I also need to put some plates on underneath here and there, and I still have to print the boxes to cover that stuff, but man, this is looking great. Let me just give you like a walking in view. So, you know, I'll be coming in, and my chair will be right here, and then I'll have my keyboard and mouse. I'll have the 3 monitors, and I'll have my big, I think it's a 42-inch up top. We're gonna have the foam panels on all sides, including the back as well. Oh man, that is fresh. Well, this is pretty much all the main construction done. I mean, I don't have to cut any more boards. I don't have to do any more drywall work. I had the desk in. I still need to glue it in, but it's in here, and the trim pieces in the corner hold it down so that it can't just like tip down. Like if I push down this, it's not just gonna flop over. Also, crazy part, I was able to save the carpet. Now, I still plan on replacing it, but I took some scissors. I also took some snips, and I went over and just pulled all the paint and the spackle out of the carpet and vacuumed it. And honestly, I mean, there's a couple small spots here and there, but it's still pretty good. So I'm gonna roll with it for a moment until I can get around to replacing it. But when I get that done, it'll probably be a whole separate project, just because I'm probably gonna have a actual carpet guy come in here and install it. I'm not going to take a gamble of it being loose and doing all that fun stuff with the boards and whatnot, since it's already done. But anyway, I got panel covers, or receptacle covers. There's that one. There's that one. There's those. I got power, Ethernet. Like, that's dope. That's dope. And obviously we have our monitor mount here now too. So ceiling came out great. Monitor mount, desk, trim. I'm stoked. Even this wall back here came out pretty good with the trim on it. I'm stoked. Now I am going to go ahead and put the foam tiles up on everything, just because there are still imperfections and waviness in the paint, or the drywall I should say, that the paint shows off. So this will all be foam tiled, and I still have to put my monitor mount up there with the 45. Alright, so here's the desktop on top of the desk. Now I am going to be doing some cable management, so I do need to pop a hole over there. And I don't want to just do the wood, so what I'm going to use is some 3D printed wire grommets. And I just printed these up. Now to get these installed, I do need to use a hole saw. So I have this bit right here on my drill. And then I'm just going to find the corner. Pretty sure with the boards being the way they are, I have to do it pretty much right around here. And I should be able to just get that right in there like that. And it should be pretty cool. I think that'll fit nicely. And just like that, we have ourselves a grommet. Goes straight through. This rotates inside, so I can get the wire management perfectly nice and neat. It also pops out if I do want to take it out, and then I can just run a cable straight through if it's a thicker one. Alright, so there's been some changes since the last time I updated you guys on the video, just because I've had a couple things going on in life where I had to pause this and do some other stuff, and now I'm able to come back to it. And I think I've accomplished a little bit more since the last time you've seen it, so let's take a look at what I've done. So right off the bat, you can definitely tell there is a lot more done here than where I left off last time. There's a chair, the microphone, the headphones, the monitor. I think that one was mounted last time you guys saw. A couple updates for you. I wanted to do 3 of these screens. There's just not enough room. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm probably going to get some 24s that are flat and put them in vertically. That way I can still have my 3 monitors set up, but this one being my primary. This is off-centered. So I have like one of those like swivel arms, and I'm going to be changing that to one of the flat mount wall ones where I can actually like slide it from side to side. That way I can actually get it perfectly centered. And this was all the foam tiles I was able to put up just because I ran out of those adhesive glue dots. But this is actually a new pack of adhesive glue dots, and I'm going to be finishing out this wall, that wall, this wall, and this one as well. And I have all the tiles inflated, and we are ready to put them up. Yeah, this is 2 massive stacks of tiles. So I'm looking forward to getting this all taken care of. I did move the PC to the floor down here, and I do have the interface set up for my microphone and headphones. I do need to go out and still get the monitors for the sides, and I do need to get the other mount for the top. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get these tiles on the walls. Alright, and that is one complete wall, and it looks sick. Super stoked the house came out. Proud of myself for how I did the little cutout for the outlet right there, because that looks awesome. I did go ahead and trend it all the way and underneath my desk as well. So that's taken care of. Now all I need to do is behind the screens, which I'm not going to do quite yet just because I want to get the other 2 monitors set up on the sides, and I want to do the one other mount on the back. I got to take that one down and put the bar mount instead to figure out where the tiles need to go back there. But what I can do is this wall next, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So I really need to get a better camera because for some reason it just stops recording when I use my phone. I really apologize. I have some missing footage that I thought I was recording, but I ended up not recording. Regardless, I do need to get a better door. That's the last piece of the project that I don't have at the moment. I'm planning on putting a like pocket door style or barn door on the inside so I can slide it open and closed. But in the meantime, you might see some blue light shining through, and you might hear some noises from potentially a game. Let's take a look. 3, 2, 1. Oh man. This is sick. As you can see, I got Minecraft loaded up. Not the normal Minecraft. This is Minecraft Cursed Walking with a twist. I added a crap ton of mods into it, so that should make it even better. That mod is by OnMod if you want to play like the original version of it. If not, if you guys are interested in playing like the full modded version, I'll have a like playthrough of it, and I will link the upload to it if you want to check it out. But yeah, as you see, I relocated the monitor. I got a flat panel mount for the back, and that allowed me to center this TV. I also got 22-inch monitors that I put up vertically, portrait style, on the sides, and then I have my main gaming 32 curved in the center. Along with that, desktop is on the ground down there. I do have the mic, which is an XLR style with the headphones right there. I do have speakers, and then the sub is going to be behind the left monitor. As for cable management, everything came out super clean. I have the white cord right there for a power strip, and then that black one is just for main power to the computer, which I will be plugging into the power strip. It's just I want to get a longer power strip underneath there for a later time. But anyway, yeah, I also got the RGB lighting up there, and it looks absolutely sick. And As you can see, all the paneling is done. I don't have any paneling behind the TVs yet, or the screens, but I will be putting that there at a later time. And all this is done as well. Oh man, it looks sick. I still have to print a little 3D box to put on top of that little pipe right there, but that's minor. The carpet got cleaned up really nicely. I am super proud of how the cutouts around the outlets came out, because it is sick. That's all paneled down there as well with the same style acoustic foam tiles. And man, it is night and day in here. This used to be a walk-in closet that I've transformed into a gaming slash studio office workspace, and I'm just so thrilled of how it came out. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this build, because I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time. But really wanted to get back into playing video games a little bit more serious. And I know this isn't really required, but this is what I had a vision of. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like. If you're new here, subscribe. I'll try to do a couple more builds like this around my house if I have the time or energy or money to put it that way. But I would love to do more things like this. And if you guys are interested in watching some gaming, I also will have this on the same channel as well, so you can catch these videos at a later time. If you have any ideas how to improve this, or what I should add, or any parts of the video that you really liked, comment down below. Let me know. Your comments inspire me to continue making videos, so it's motivational. Really appreciate the friendly comments, and even if you have constructive criticism, I'm open to it. So I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Have a good day.